Hello, everybody. My name is Daz. I'm going to be doing a live commentary of this sort of time lapse. I didn't want to make, just another plain old time lapse. I want to explain what I'm doing. Right off the start, I decided to mix these two together. I'm using Clip Studio Paint, just so you know, and I'm using the Clip Studio Paint mixer. The mixing color I can never pronounce it right. I can never remember the name. It's a color mixing palette, kind of like traditional artists that have like a palette and they mix and match colors and all that. It gives a really nice feel, but I also want to mix the colors within the canvas as well. It creates some nice sort of what you call it, creates a nice look to it. In this case, I mixed in the blue there with the edge of that light green, and essentially I'm creating some really nice imagery here. Those greens that's faded with the blue up there, it creates this illusion of like a distant, or should I say a more distant landscape. Now I'm mixing in the orange here. Now I regret doing this, honestly. I should have like thrown that out way early, but I was getting in that sort of groove here. Hindsight's 2020 and all that. For some mistakes, you just gotta keep it in. I did record this for this purpose, so I want it to be seamless and flawless, but there's gonna be a huge cut somewhere, not now, however. Here I add like that sort of dark-ish blue. Originally this was the sort of sky that I was working with. I ended up throwing that idea out for something else. Here I'm adding the light blue, adding it from the top there so that it doesn't get mixed up all the way from the bottom to the top there. Didn't want to make too much of a obvious gradient. Now I'm using those like empty spaces there to make some clouds. And when it comes to making clouds, there are many different ways of doing it, really. I've seen some people draw boxes and then draw the fluffy clouds in there. Some follow the guide of geometrical shapes. For me, I just do it however, because I can sort of just turn my mind off and do whatever I like. Let's see. I've sort of just like went on a flow here. I legit just went wild. Drawing clouds is my favorite part of drawing any sort of like landscape, because that's where, as I said, turn my mind off and just work on that. Drawing smaller and smaller clouds as we go nearer and nearer into the horizon here. Erasing a few parts. I say erasing, it's just I'm adding paint back in, really. I'm painting in the alpha instead of using like an eraser, because it creates a nice sort of mix with colors that's already there. And there I am, just like softening up edges. Now I don't want to have like a straight line for those. I kind of want to make them somewhat fluffy. working in those small details. I always love working on clouds. They're always a joy to make. Yeah. So like adding a bunch of stuff there, making interesting shapes really is the idea for clouds. It's not supposed to be logical. It's supposed to. This one is not supposed to be logical. I just want to make something cool, really. Now I'm just like blending in sky here, and when I realized that, hey, maybe I can use this sort of blue area as a sort of mountain range, and then you start to see why I regret that putting that orange there. I regret it now. I didn't regret it then. It was only when I came to this part that I regretted, really. I tried adding more clouds here, but I was like, it's too much. I decided not to. Just keep working and working this sort of like mountain range. I did try to blend the orange color with that mountain range, bluish, just a little bit. Maybe I'll make a more detailed and more refined painting, if you guys want it. And I started working on the blue, and I had a idea here, but I just kept working and working. Mountain ranges are also kind of cool in that I would say you turn your mind off, but there's so many ways you could sort of do it, really. And then there you go. I try to blend that orange in a little bit more. When I realized that I could work something with the blue there, right? You'll see it here in just a bit. I zoomed in. I was like, oh yeah, maybe I can make like a sort of city or building, something in the distance that the audience or the viewer can sort of look and think in their own heads, like, maybe there's something there. Who knows? Hey. I might use the same palette for something else, really. I do like that blue, and I do like that the green being used here, so I might reuse it. That's the one thing about, like, if you're mixing colors, there's always something cool. Make some cool shapes with it. I'm using the default brush here, which is the oil flat brush or flat oil brush. I can't remember exactly the name. And I like to also like mix the colors on the palette as well. I'm doing this all in one layer as well, so and the background music is not too distracting. I might change that, honestly, as of recording this. You might not know, but I know. So there's the cut. Probably saw briefly. I just filled in that ground, and I decided to revisit that idea of adding more clouds near to the horizon here now, because we have like a mountain range there. Just I wouldn't say small clouds, more like supposed to be quote unquote distant clouds. I removed paint and added more paint, softened edges and all that. Yes. And it's a good idea to move from place to place in your sort of painting. because it's, I don't know, yeah, it makes you get more ideas because your brain is relaxing in something you already know, and you're just refining, and your brain suddenly goes into, you know, another, your brain, when you go into that state like painting and stuff, there's this feeling that you know that you usually have. At least for me, that's what it is. I finally came back down here after erasing and adding, and I was like, decided to make this sort of like a plane, like a flat plane, and then it goes up to that sort of foresty area. And I push that light green, that yellowish light green up above there, just to give that sort of idea that, hey, it's connected, right? It's not just another sort of landscape cutout kind of thing. And this only, I think if I wasn't working on something that I could relax on and do that, those clouds, refining those stuff, I wouldn't be able to figure out this. I went through like a swamp area, like a tall grass, a grassy hill, and then I settled on this sort of like a plain. It's not too detailed, but it's not what we're really after. Your eyes aren't supposed to be looking down here. This is where your eyes are supposed to rest, and then the clouds, that sort of like city-ish area, that pattern of things in the background, those are what you're supposed to be looking at. And down here is where your eyes can sort of rest, right? This is a small area. Here I am adding just a little bit of that light green in there and mixing it with that dark green. Adding more pattern there where it needs to be. And that's about it. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you next time.